Kevin Durant made the call that ended James Harden days in Brooklyn. Whenever the Nets faced a major decision, Sean Marks would consult his top players Kevin Durant, Kyrie Irving, James Harden, and Joe Harris. In the era of player empowerment, that's not surprising, and one would have to assume that Ben Simmons will join that list now that Harden is gone. But what happens when the decision involves one of those players? Is there a first among equals? Of course there is. It's Kevin Durant, and as Jake Fischer writes in what may very well turn out to be the ultimate insider's report on the Nets-Sixers trade, KD was critical in two of the key moves of the last 3 months. It was he who pushed the Nets to bring back Kyrie Irving, and it was he who on Thursday morning called Marks and finally said, "Do it." Durant's call was the final piece. Until then, writes Fischer, Durant had hoped it would be salvageable, but with Harden's play indicating he wanted out, and the fear that he might bolt leaving the Nets with nothing to show for their trade for the beard, it was time. Kevin was like, FK it. James isn't bringing st other figure with knowledge of Brooklyn added. I don't think that would have happened without Kevin making that decision. For weeks, he had grown weary of Harden's purported commitment to the franchise. When Harden first took to the bench with right hamstring tightness, Durant was among the Brooklyn figures who were skeptical of the injury severity. By Thursday morning, Durant dialed Nets general manager Sean Marks, sources said. Of course, by then, Harden had told Marks and Joe Tsai that, yes, he wanted out, ending what others have called his passive-aggressive stance on staying. At 9:30 a.m. ET, Marks, who had also resisted the urge to move Harden, made another call to Daryl Morey, according to ESPN's Adrian Wojnarowski and Ramona Shelburne. 4 hours later, Harden was headed to Philly, and Ben Simmons, Seth Curry, Andre Drummond, 2 first-round picks, and 2 new trade exceptions were in Brooklyn's asset drawer. As Adrian Wojnarowski and Ramona Shelburne reported over the weekend, Durant's issues with Harden began back in September when the beard showed up in San Diego. And as every physical therapist will tell you, love-shaped basketball players are prone to, among other things, hamstring issues. Then, Harden, whose extension Marks had said was signed, sealed and delivered, began to talk about free agency with increasing regularity and enthusiasm.